Hey, this meeting is being recorded, everybody.
I do
Uh,
not consent.
Welcome to what I now believe to be session 21 of our Call of Cthulhu Down Deadlier Trails or Down Darker Trails, Deadlands, Crazy Crossover, whatever. 1876, June 1st, a Thursday. Um, Looks like our
Are you telling me
party,
game wise it's actually June 1st, just like today?
yeah,
Wow.
um, except for today's Monday and in the game it's Thursday, but yeah.
Freaky.
That is creepy.
Our party, which I have mentally started calling in my head the Danger Six, has started to gather back together in cold water with Gustav and Vance and Chris making their way on horseback. They will be arriving in town shortly, and Walt and Edward and Gabriel are.
1 second, my dog is throwing up.
Oh. Should we need that
So
detail?
someone said Walton.
If I recall correctly, during college, Aaron's dulcet tones had that effect on women. They would just start to vomit.
Yeah, but back then at least I
That's
had
why
my,
he started DJing.
Back then at least I had my dragon bone. I still look for it on eBay on occasion.
Now, where were we?
Clean up on aisle 3.
The in-town 3 are having
Can we,
a visit.
instead of the Danger 6, can we call ourselves Dr. Trout and his hired help?
That would be up to the party.
That's a hard pass. Hard pass.
Sorry. The 3 in town
are currently in a peculiar shop known as Gilmore's Glorious Goods.
I bet he spells goods with a Goodes.
Yes. All right, so back to the shop. Dr. Trout, you were kind of working out the sort of final and finer details of the alarm system that you had.
Until he told me $800, and I went, ooh. That's a lot of money.
Yes.
That's an obscene in 1870. That's probably the equivalent of like $20,000.
Which a good alarm system now would cost you at least that.
It probably would.
So
I've been thinking about it in the 12 seconds since you mentioned it, but the 1 week of Steve time, and I think instead of the verbal warning, I would like just a vigorous bell ringing, a very loud bell ringing, so it doesn't seem that unusual. So just like a school,
or you could get a dog,
like a school marm ringing the bell for the students to come in, something like that.
Okay, yeah.
Ding 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 ding.
Gilmore agrees to that.
And how would you like me to deposit? Would you like me to bring you cash, or would you like me to deposit it in an account somewhere?
Oh, I think if possible, if you could supply a simplistic 10% down payment and the rest upon delivery.
Okay, I can do that.
And an assistant walks out to start filling out the paperwork and such like that. Gilmore virtually glides over to Edward as Edward, you were looking at this sort of briefcase looking thing with several different pieces of paper next to it. And he goes, "Oh, my friend, I see you have an interest in this. Can I tell you about it?"
Absolutely.
This is more for the academia. I get the sense that you are an academic.
Indeed.
Am I correct?
Yes.
I call this, well, because it's part of my name, Gilmore's Glorious Grimoire. It runs on a principle of perhaps you've seen more lately some of the more fantastical devices that can capture imagery. This is more specifically for books. One can capture an image of a page of a book and keep it stored in this briefcase to be accessible. It can store up to, well, we haven't gotten to its actual limit, but I know it can take up to over 10,000 pages that you can access at any time with the briefcase.
He's from the future.
That sounds incredibly useful.
Indeed, a virtual portable library.
I'm
We're showing
salivating
we
at
don't
this
need
point.
books.
It also has the advantage that if, let's say, you have a bound book that perhaps you're just borrowing the book and can't dismantle its binding to conveniently feed through the pages. If you put the bottom of this box to a page, 5 seconds later, the grimoire will store a direct image copy of the page.
That's amazing. I think this could be quite useful to us, Doctor.
Does the
Now, I
page
have
form
one
and-
here, and I have one in Dodge, where I have another store. So, if you can't obtain it now due to costs and such, I will most likely have a spare available.
What kind of costs are we talking about?
It is $300.
So,
It also requires a small amount of ghost rock to maintain its power source, so you can read the pages. We can supply the power source. That will be the same for the alarm system, of course, for a nominal fee. Or if you have your own source of ghost rock, of course, you can use your own.
So my character is has his means are basically moderate means. I mean, I did when I did the character generation. So I assume that's a lot of money for back then.
Yeah, it's a fair amount of money. There should have been in the
Horse. Yeah, what's a horse cost by comparison?
generation. There is a reference to wealth depending on your character type.
Yeah, and then my result was the most I could get was the average cash and assets. So that's what I have.
Right.
That's local, Gabe.
So, could you afford it? Relativistically, yeah. I suppose you probably could.
Just beating a lot of beans.
Yeah, you're gonna pinch some pennies there.
Yeah. It
Better,
would
better
push
turn
your-
tricks.
It would probably push your cash on hand to its absolute limit, though. Roll me a dumb luck roll just to see. Maybe you have been stashing some extra cash.
There's always the chance of taking a loan.
Or you
That's
could
true too.
just you could go gambling and just
Oh,
double
yeah.
your money.
Yeah, I'm going to get right on that. Well, I rolled a 67. My dumb luck is 45, but my luck is 100. So
He said dumb luck.
That's an interesting point. Well, your luck is your luck is more,
It's spendable.
Spendable on skills, though. I don't know if it's like
My
sanity.
ability
You
is
can't use
just-
luck, right?
Yeah.
okay.
Luck is
Alright.
more, you were falling off of a cliff and you luckily grabbed that root.
I got you. Well, I'll have to think about that, but I'm very interested.
Oh, very well. You had also noticed, sort of predominantly in the case, just sort of things that had sort of clicked in your mind. You see some very nice knives, And I believe, Walter, you were looking at
A really nice duster, which hopefully will cost much, much less.
yes,
500.
Gilmore kind of shows you in effect how this works when he takes one of the sample pieces of paper or asks if you have something on hand, or if you wanted to just he actually pulls out a piece of blank paper and says, just draw something here, or write your name, or something unique, basically.
Draw that symbol you saw on the floor. Walt. We might blow up the store.
So do you write something unique on a piece of paper, Ed?
Sure.
Okay, so you do
Nothing
whatever.
special, something that wouldn't make any sense to anyone.
And he pulls out the case and he puts the case on top of the piece of paper, and he presses a little brass button to the side. Nothing particularly seems to happen. He pulls away the case, and you take the piece of paper, and he opens the case, and as the case opens up, a glass screen kind of slots up like so, and you can see several brass dials to the side, and he kind of scrolls through the dials relatively quickly, and the screen emits a little bit of light. It's not very bright, but you would imagine it would probably look better in a darkened room, better than right now with the sun kind of coming through the display windows and such of the store. But you see the piece of paper perhaps projected onto this sort of dusty white sort of frosted glass, and it's a very reasonable facsimile of what you scrawled on the piece of paper.
That's wonderful. This would be incredibly useful.
So he says, feel free to play with it, and he kind of gives you a brief description. There's several rotors and sort of rotors within rotors. The inner rotor selects pages in increments of 100, a middle rotor in 10, and then the last rotor sequences one page at a time. And he kind of lets you to it, just kind of clicking through, and you can play with how it sets and samples the sample work that has clearly been preloaded into it. Gilmore glides over to you, Walter.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, beautiful duster, isn't it?
Yeah, it's that inside with the lining. What is that, velvet? It's nice.
Oh, it's yes, it's well, it's not velvet. It's a silk. I prefer silks personally. Here, and he picks it up and says, "Try it on. Give it a fit. See how it fits
I
in."
will try it on.
You saunter into it, and at first it seems a bit loose. Then as you kind of adjust it a little bit more, it almost seems to be a perfect fit.
So does this lovely jacket have any special features, or shall I say Gilmore specials?
Exclusives.
Gilmore exclusives.
Almost everything I have in my store has something special. This one, indeed, I call it the Glamour. Now, think of a color. What color are you thinking about?
Smoking jacket burgundy.
The jacket slowly turns to a burgundy color.
Where's the ghost rock receptacle for in here? That's amazing.
Woven in. A little bit of dusting of it once a month will keep it, well, charged.
Okay, can it seems to be if one were, say, like Dr. Trout and putting on a bit of a tummy, would it take care of that?
Do what?
If it's putting on a bit of a tummy, would it would it be
within
still fit?
reason, it's shall we say one size fits all.
Well, all right. Any other special features like standard pockets?
Outside that, the leather is rather resistant.
Interesting.
Repels water fairly nicely. No additional oiling should be necessary. And were you to get into a scuffle, it'd probably help you out a bit.
Is this the
To
only
be
one?
clear, it changes color to whatever you're thinking of, and it sizes automatically. And Walt asked if it had any special features.
I said additional special features.
Yeah, but what else can it do?
Can it make me a cup of
What's it done
coffee?
for you today?
Can it silence people who aren't even there?
I'm just clarifying.
Has it got this pocket that just keeps giving cigarettes?
But can it open this can of beer and pour it into my mouth?
And you cut those tricky Julian fries.
No sale.
If I
By the
put
way, a
something in the
horse
pocket,
costs on
does it
average
kind of
$150?
disappear, and I can put something else in the pocket, and it kind of disappears, and I can put something else, but when I reach into it, can I pull out whatever I want?
No. I feel like that's asking too much. Okay. Dare I ask the cost of such a glorious jacket?
Oh, well, if I get multiple sales, I could perhaps reduce the price down to, say, 150.
Okay. Multiple sales. So, did you make these to order, or?
Oh, they take quite some time. The tailors that are involved in and the special processes, I could only perhaps maybe one a month.
Okay. Well, this one's mine.
Very well. You have Gilmore's Glamour.
Where's Glamour? And
In
I
effect,
will be
this-
and I will be eating the Western equivalent of ramen noodles.
you have to basically, in order for the as you stop thinking about the color, right? It kind of fades back to its kind of dusty brown leather cover. So, in order to keep another color on it, you have to be more or less concentrating on that color, not to all exclusion of everything else, but you know, you have to think of a color, think about it for a very brief period of time, and as long as, say, you didn't get into combat or start having to read a novel or something that would highly distract you, it'll maintain the coloration. But if you lose track of the fact that you're wearing the jacket and having it a color, then it assumes that you don't want to maintain it at that new color. And
So it has the default, basically. Okay, I'm gonna go stand next to Dr. Trout and concentrate really hard so I can look just like him with the same color and
Dark color.
okay, give me a willpower roll.
40.
40. So that's
What's willpower again? I assume is that power, basically?
yeah.
Oh yeah, well that's a hard
Hard.
success.
Okay. So as you look at Dr. Trout, okay, I don't know, Dr. Trout. Dr. Trout, what are you wearing?
Not a
in
brown
grand
suit.
detail, but
I wear a brown three-piece suit.
brown three-piece suit with like maybe a white shirt.
A black bowler hat. Actually, a brown bowler hat.
Okay,
Well,
so
that's just a jacket.
yeah, so the jacket first turns the approximate color, and then you even start seeing some pinstriping of yet another color onto the jacket.
Stand next to him.
And while you're looking at Dr. Trout, you kind of look at him, at the front where he's got a vest and a white shirt underneath it. Even the jacket starts emulating a little bit of white at the collar, kind of in a V, aping Dr. Trout's look. It's not sharp, right? But it definitely is mimicking.
Sweet.
It.
So
So I'm gonna go. You know what the difference between you and me, Dr. Trout?
So
I
so
make
the
this
difference-
look good.
So I'm gonna actually, I sort of get a look of discomfort, and I move away from you,
Okay, I mean, I was thinking of what I wanted to look like, so it's okay.
and I'll say, will you send word when it's ready, and then I'm gonna leave.
Gladly.
Yes, I'm not, and I'll talk to you guys later. Come see me at the office when you're done.
Alrighty.
I leave rather abruptly after your shenanigans.
They're more like hijinks.
Well, and just to be clear, I don't look real happy. So anyway,
Because that reminds me of that line from Beetlejuice. He goes, "We're complice." He goes, you know, he flips that. He's got the exact same outfit. When he looks just like Alec Baldwin characters, he says something like, "We're compadres" or something. I can't remember what he says, but that's what I was thinking. The Beetlejuice thing.
Dr. Trout, have you revealed much of your personal family history to the rest of the Danger Six?
I've mentioned it. I think I mentioned it one time. I don't know if they were paying attention. So, you know.
I think you mentioned like losing your family. Was your wife or daughter or both?
Right. So Dr. Trout, his wife and his 2 daughters were killed by some huckster using some ghost rock amulet.
Not I.
Does his name rhyme with Rostov?
That's why Dr. Trout also has a limp. So,
Correct.
So I'm not, look, it's one thing to get some device that sits in the doorway and I'm not going to be touching it, but I'm not putting it on my freaking head.
Well, I certainly think
all this stuff comes with a cost.
Yeah, and I certainly think from at least Dr. Trout's point of view that anything that is ghost rock powered is nothing to be taken lightly. You know, it certainly can be useful. It seems that the ghost rock technology is improving over time, but certainly from his point of view, it is not something to play with.
Oh,
It can be used,
I'm playing with it.
but not to be taken. Certainly not to be taken lighthearted.
Yeah, and so I'll tell you later. You know, it's great that this makes a copy for you. Who else does it make a copy for? So none of the documents from my uncle were to be put in some ledger that I don't know who's looking at it. Makes sense?
Yeah, a good point.
Yeah, I mean, it is reasonable. You know, there are devices that probably all the characters have either encountered or at least heard about that seem to have rather benign functionality that is just sort of beyond what the technology was during the Civil War and beforehand. That seems to be coming into quote-unquote common use. There have been rumors and such, though, that as such devices, new devices, unique devices, or things or items that maybe seem to be carrying more potential, especially for their size, the you know, like a ring that can make you fly, you know, something like that, probably is also going to have bad effects.
Such as madness.
Yeah, madness, perhaps.
Loss of hair,
You know,
rectal bleeding.
that's right. Almost,
Yeah.
you know, so, you know, who knows? Maybe papers copied by that briefcase. Perhaps a additional copy goes into Gilmore's archive.
Yeah.
Maybe not. You don't know. You don't understand the magic / technology sufficiently. Although you do have an inkling now of how it kind of sort of works. You could, of course, do an appropriate roll for that. And maybe garner whether there are ramifications beyond the obvious.
Probably would just wants to copy my style. So I'm not too worried about that.
What's that? An arcane knowledge roll?
Yeah, although you probably wouldn't want to do it in the store.
Right. Gotcha.
You know.
Yeah, so we have some attunement to that he may not be aware of.
Right.
Best to make sure best to keep him unaware of that.
Yeah, I agree.
So, you know, the amount of time you step out of the store, it seems that more time took place than you thought while you were in the store. It is, according to the bell tower clock, which you happen to hear right as you're stepping outside, it is 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
I need to hop to it and go see a stone mason to get that doorway lintel dug out.
Okay. Stone mason.
I think I took care of everything else. Oh wait, so hang on a second. The delivery's already happening, right?
Yeah, I was about to say.
Oh yeah. Oh, sorry. Look at my pocket watch. Oh dear. And
We
late,
promised.
I'm
go
late.
to the bank.
We promised to help supervise, so we better. We
Oh
noticed
yeah.
the
So
time.
I'll
We should.
duck in. I'll duck in and say, "Hey, chaps, we're late for the delivery. We're late for that appointment."
Okay. Well, we said we'd help, so we better. I settled up, and I have no money anymore, and I'm gonna head out.
Okay, you have the jacket basically tucked underneath your arm.
I'm fucking wearing it, man. I didn't pay that kind of money not to wear that jacket.
You've got your old jacket tucked under your arm.
That's right.
It is June. just,
Do you see how good I look at this?
just saying.
I'm just digging.
But okay, yeah, you throw the jacket on. Not terribly uncommon to, you know, even back, you know, in the 1920s, people in the midsummer wore layers and layers of clothing. Not sure why, but they did.
Style.
Because they look good.
Savoir-faire.
Yeah, that must be it.
You look marvelous.
Suppress the odor by putting on just another layer.
Ugh.
And you were you on? Well, you don't need to be on horseback. The train station's just a relatively short walk away.
We're gonna go. Actually, we're going to the station to make sure that the delivery arrived.
Yeah. So you head up to the station, and you know that you don't need to necessarily talk to the station manager unless you want to. Basically, you just need to talk to. Let's see here. Mr. Pratt will probably be sufficient insofar as getting you to the right location. Mr. Pratt confirms that indeed the train did come in. You're a little curious as to why you didn't hear the train hoot as it pulled in, but I don't want to say you shrug your shoulders at it, but
Gilmore's is a magical place. Let's just leave it at that.
And Mr. Pratt tells you to talk to Troy Hansen, who is basically the dock manager or freight manager, I guess, at the station, and tells you, you know, down that corridor, you know, to the sort of open-aired loading and offloading section of the station.
So is the team waiting outside? The team
Yes.
hired?
Yeah, and
Okay.
have been probably for quite a while now.
Oh, sorry for.
It's wealthy's it's the rich man's prerogative to make the lessers wait.
Walt, I'm getting tired of this. I mean, if you're gonna think,
All right. Sorry.
hold your tongue. All right, so we're gonna go So we'll go. I'll find out where the shipment is and come back and let you know. So I'll head over to the receiving area and see if the shipment has arrived.
Okay. You see a fellow there. He has a desk, and on the desk there's a nameplate that says Hanson. He's not at the desk, but there's only kind of one person kind of near the desk. He's ledgering and a relatively busy-looking man. He sees you approach, and he kind of stops and says, "Yes."
I'm Dr. Gabriel Trout. I understand a delivery has arrived for me.
Let me check my books. One moment, and he goes over to the desk that's there, and he flips through his ledger. Doesn't have to go far. He's on the page of today, and kind of scrolls down. Yes. Several. Quite the shipment. Yes, I've got that in lockers 4 through 7. And he says, "Here, follow me. And these are sort of like kind of like those used storage kind of lockers, right? So they're like cages, right?
Okay.
You know, several feet wide, several feet deep, 10 feet tall, kind of thing. And you see multiple, several small crates. Like 2x2. That standard kind of wooden crate with the crossed wood on each side, kind of thing. All kind of nailed down, kind of thing. And pretty much the other 3 storage units have like 1 or 2 large ass crates shoved into them. So several items are quite large. And then, as I say, one of the storage unit has basically smallish, almost basically moving boxes kind of size crates in it. And he goes, "Yes, interesting. One of those boxes, one of those large boxes, quite heavy. But the other ones, though bulky, quite light. Can easily be handled by one man in a cart. The one big box, I would suggest he looks at the 3 of you."
So we have a team coming to.
Very good. Okay. Didn't want to
So should I have
commentary,
them
but quite heavy, yes.
All right. So I will. So let me. One moment. I'll go fetch them. So I'll walk back with you guys. So what I'd like to do, when we're out of earshot of other people, what I'd like to do is make sure that we have one person keeping an eye on the crates here, and then one person keeping an eye on the crates when they start to arrive there until they're all delivered, and I'll go back and forth. If that sounds all right to you guys?
Yeah.
Because I just don't, we've got a lockable door on the other side, but I also don't want people snooping around. It's I don't know how widely known it is that I received a shipment and how big it is and whether it may or may not be valuable. I don't even know if it's valuable, but obviously it was valuable to my uncle, sentimentally, if nothing else. So, and Edward, my uncle's instructions were to use the crates to line the room that they were stored in to protect them, the possessions.
Sounds like he knows what he's doing, or knew what he was doing.
Presumably.
Yeah.
Perhaps there's instructions inside as well. We'll find out. Okay, so I will go fetch the team.
Okay.
Have them come up and say, and then I'll instruct the receiving person. It's like, this is my associate, Mr. Larrabee. He's going to stay here. Keep an eye on things until we've gotten everything moved over. So both he and Mr. What's your last name?
Tillinghast.
Yeah.
Mr. Tillinghast are assisting me with moving this.
Very well. And Mr. Hanson points out the one box that's quite heavy, that's in storage cage 4. And he says, "Well,
so we'll start with the heavy one, shall we?"
Very good. And he pulls
so,
out a.
do you need me to sign for anything?
Yes, we have to settle up on the signatures and such. And do you have some form of identification?
Of course. And I'll pull out my medical license.
Sure, that'll be fine. And he sits down and he checks up
Carefully
against.
keeping my thumb over the expired date.
he checks against the. Basically, it's just the shipping manifest that came across in Dodge, right? So it's
so
gone
I'll
through
check.
intermediates.
So as they're trying to get the big crate in, I'll double check to make sure all the crates are accounted for.
Okay, Mr. Hanson hands you the, at this point, somewhat beaten up transport paperwork. It has come halfway across the country, and several station hand switch ups and things like that. Um, but it describes 4 large crates in their approximate dimensions, and 8 smaller crates and their approximate dimensions, and a sort of shipping routing number that was I guess back then probably heat branded onto the carts.
Okay.
And so you didn't count all the boxes in the cages quite yet, but you now have basically a manifest in your hand.
Okay. Well, let me know if anything comes up onto anything. Yeah, and I'm also as we're going through these, I'm gonna visually inspect them to see if any of them look like they've been opened or damaged.
Okay. First one that starts getting dragged out by the team you hired, definitely they're kind of struggling with it. You hear one, oh God, this must be over 400 pounds.
So, boys, we're going down a flight of stairs with these. So, if you need some more help, go fetch it.
Okay. Do you think they need to be opened, or do you think they could be opened before we go down the stairs, perhaps?
No, they cannot.
Okay, and you're kind of looking at the 3 big boxes and sort of your own sort of mental map of.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. If I think they can't make it down the stairs without being opened, then we'll just have them delivered into the room and we'll move them ourselves.
Yeah, you think maybe the 4 big ones probably will need to be unpacked on the main level of the old bank. And
so gents, let's get them as far as we can. If they're small enough, we'll come to think of it, yeah. So we'll just take them in the main door, and that should probably be adequate.
Okay.
Honestly, I hate to, like, in my head, I'm thinking, I don't really want them to see the doors. Carpenters already know what's down there. There'll be a stonemason who does. But that's enough. That's enough random people to see what the basement looks like.
Okay, fair enough. Given a few minutes and some grunting and an extra hand cart and such, they managed to get the first box up onto the wagon. The wagon has a team of 4 horses. It is it's a cargo wagon. It could probably take another box, but they're like, this one's awfully heavy. Perhaps we should take this one solo.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, and did 1 of 3 or all 3 of you, were you on horseback, or were you just walking?
I think we were all walking. This pretty much we only take.
Yeah, we didn't say anything differently.
Right? Okay. Well, Dr. Gabriel kind of suggested, Walt, that you stay at the station.
Yeah. And I'm on foot, and I'll stay at the station.
Okay, and I suppose Doctor and Edward will perhaps hop on the wagon with the hired team and ride back into town and do the first delivery. In consideration of brevity, takes a total about an hour and a half, so it takes you to close to 5 o'clock, but you get all 4 of the big boxes. The other 3 big boxes I don't want to say a fraction of the weight, but maybe 100 pounds each. The first box was significantly heavier, closer to 500 pounds. The individual smaller crates, not terribly heavy. Some of them surprisingly light. You think probably the wood of the crate is probably most of the weight of some of the boxes, right? And you get everything into sort of the lobby of the old um, uh, bank, and as far as you can tell, versus the manifests, everything seems to be accounted for.
Okay. So as we see the team off, I will give them a reasonable tip. Make sure they think well of me.
Absolutely. And let's see here. At this point, I would say that the rest of the Danger Six is probably rolling into town.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Trot.
So, Gustav,
Yep.
Vance, not here, Carl. Where do you pull in? It's an annoying ass ride. You found some new back trails, which was pretty cool.
Bring up the old map.
The only
We pull into a tavern, or should we pull in over at the doc's office to see if the other group is just mulling about? That's where we left them.
Did we have an agreed upon meeting place? Or?
No. It's either that or we can just meet up with them later. Probably they might show up at the tavern.
I mean, you probably know we often kind of default to the doctor's office.
That's true.
It's kind of tied.
You're probably thinking though, at least maybe a swing by the saloon, bit of a drink to wash down the dust.
Little drinky drink.
Well, I'm thinking a drink and a run over to the bathhouse.
Oh, probably not a bad idea. Yeah.
Because I haven't had a bath in quite a while, and we've been riding back and forth.
The only thing that Christopher seemed a little bit distracted during the ride in. He comments as you finally kind of got on the last mile or so heading into town. He's like, I know we made awfully good time, but I swear, one or two of those trails that we took, I'm sure I would have noticed those trails heading back up this way. I mean, it's a canyon. There's only so many trails through a canyon. That canyon's got me a bit mystified.
Well, we could always rest up and check the canyon out again at another time. But I think we ought to just get into town, get these horse sores out of our asses. And
Vance, you do recall when you headed out at first through the canyon, that something in the landscape did seem to shift from your point of view. So, a keep in mind reminder from things that happened at this point. Game time was just a few days ago.
Yeah.
In role playing time, like 2 months ago. So.
Yeah.
Okay, so a bit of a drink, a bit of a cleanup, depending on how much you want to pay or whatever. It can be a very pleasant cleanup with help, or just a standard cleanup. It doesn't really matter, just your character's preference. Either is well within any sort of budget you all have.
Probably with the sores and not the fact that I haven't been sleeping on the ground or a lumpy couch or what have you. We haven't had really a good Well, Gustav supposedly has had some good night's sleeps,
I've
considering he
slept
has
very
been
well.
yelling. But that's what keep hearing, but I haven't heard it yet. I'm an older man. I figure I probably would. I wouldn't mind somebody scrubbing my back,
Okay,
getting my
well,
feet, so I don't have to reach down to them.
sure. Let's say you pop into a saloon. Most saloons also provide
Bathing,
bathing
yeah.
facilities. If you want
Does the
female
saloon that
help
we
or female
normally go to,
companionship,
do they have
especially.
it?
I'm sorry.
Does the saloon that we normally go to have it?
Yeah, the gem as well as
Perfect.
the Empire does.
It'll be the gem and a half a bottle.
All right. A negligible cost, but a little more time consuming. Not that big of a deal. And come say 6 o'clock, you're feeling better. Everybody's feeling a bit better. You got probably a little bit of food delivered as well. Clean, relatively speaking, dust free, and ready to face the evening and find your compatriots.
I guess we could just. Should we, Graf? Do you think we should just get another drink, or should we go mosey over to the doc's office and see if anybody showed up?
Let's head over to the doctor's office.
All right. It's only a few doors down.
Sure. Doc, did you leave any particular come find me notes or?
I did not.
Yeah, I don't recall that you did either. Okay, so Gustav and Vance and Chris, you mosey over to the doctor's office.
You see a bunch of sweaty men grunting.
The doctor's office, and at the doctor's office, strangely, nobody particularly there. Usually, you're used to either finding a note or sort of at least a "I'll be back at," and then with a little hand clock kind of thing, kind of giving out. Neither of that too, which is a little out of character.
Maybe he's out on a call.
Could be. Do you all wait, or do you want to fan out?
Looking at the map.
I give myself a 25 or a third of a chance for my intelligence roll to think of checking his new places. No.
It was a long ride. Don't be so hard on yourself.
Yeah. Well,
we could swing by the sheriff's office and say howdy and see if they've seen him.
Okay, I mean, sheriff's office is quite close.
Yeah. Yeah, last I saw, he got himself a new deputy. Some young Irish lad. I wonder if he's hired on anyone else.
You head into to the sheriff's office. You don't see Sheriff Bishop, but indeed you do see somebody wearing a deputy badge. That I don't know if you all have met him or not yet.
I've met him.
I don't believe so. I think
Walt's the only one.
Yeah, I think Walt's the only one that's met the deputy.
Mm-hmm.
Deputy looks up at you. What can I help you for?
Oh, we're looking for the sheriff.
Oh, Mr. Bishop's taking a little bit of a time out this evening.
Caution, Bagora.
Seems simple. All right. Do you know if the doc's still in town?
Oh, the old doctor hasn't come back. I think he's due quite soon back from his visitations with some of his family relatives, but there is a
Yeah, I know about that. No, I'm talking about the substitute doc,
oh, uh, I can't say
Dr.
he's
Trout.
checked in here anytime soon.
Hey,
But
give
you
him a
don't know,
dumb luck roll to see if he saw me in the wagon.
True
but
enough.
you don't know if he had to go out on any kind of calls or anything.
Strangely enough, I did when I was walking through the 01. No, when I was making my rounds, I saw the sheriff or the good doctor unloading some sort of packages to what I understand used to be the town bank before it moved.
Oh, all right. Well, thank you, Deputy.
Deputy Dumb Luck.
Irish O'Shillelagh.
O'Brien,
Deputy O'Brien. Okay.
you can call me Liam.
He must have the luck of the Irish. But I'm pumped.
All right, thank you kindly. And before we leave, we'll both. I figure Barnett and I will both scan the wanted boards.
Oh, that's probably a good idea. Yeah.
Anything new?
Let's see.
We never did check back in with Swearingen, did we?
That's sort of optional.
No,
he did pay us.
Yeah, well, no, you
Oh
got
no,
paid.
we did all the debriefing. Yeah, we're good.
I put
Okay.
I had you already got your gold dust from me.
Yeah.
And
I couldn't remember. It's been a while.
I think if we came back to town, it was just going to be someone, probably one of either Walter or Dr. Gabriel talking to Swearinger, because we weren't around.
You don't see any particular sort of new notorious, as it were, from a week ago or so. The posters don't get updated all that incredibly often, but you do see a couple help wanted, if you will, signs, mostly for da, 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 da. Here, hold on one second. There we go.
Here.
Mostly for the Montclair Ranch.
Clear Ranch. Help wanted for them.
And it looks like it for cattle, basically cowboy duty, right? In its classical term. It lists a price per day of $5 a day, which is
Awfully high.
an extraordinarily high amount of money for,
Suspiciously high.
yeah, in a way.
Chill, damn it.
But outside of that,
No.
not so much there. There are, if you went down to the town hall, would be where you might see postings of other local news and such. Or you could probably just ask Edward, because Edward probably scans those on a daily level when he goes in and out of work. Edward's mostly been, up until very recently, just focusing on his ledger jobs and such like that. So you would probably need to scan through those postings to notice anything peculiar to then bring up to Edward saying, have you seen a trend of blankety blank and blankety blank? And then that might jog Edward's a memory on past postings, and could even probably cross-reference and look up things as far as that goes.
The gang that was living down in the gully. I forgot the name of the gang. I have it written down.
The McKinney gang, or the Coyotes.
Coyotes.
Led by McKinney.
Yeah. No one's collected no McKinney yet.
No, but it looks like the price for McKinney's head has went up by $200. So it is now wanted dead or alive, $1,200, and
$1,200.
$100 for each of his agents.
A lot of money.
Worth your
I
life?
like the idea of gunning down me some criminals.
You mean serving justice and getting financially rewarded for the rest?
Yes.
Oh,
serving
yes,
justice.
that's absolutely.
You killed them
yes.
all. Yes, but they were all bad.
And they paid well.
It said dead or alive. I don't want to transport a live man.
Reminds me of Hateful Eight. If you haven't seen it, excellent movie.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, I guess we should probably head over to the old bank.
Okay.
See if they're still around there.
So let's skip over to the old bank for the.
Rob it.
Well, I assume that when the wagon came back for the last load, which was basically the small items, that you took a ride along with everybody else to get to the old bank. That way.
I didn't. I walked because I didn't have my horse. But yes, I followed along, keeping my steely eye aglint and looking really
You're-
good in my jacket.
You're kind of digging your jacket. You're starting to think of a lot of fun possibilities with that jacket. Clandestine things you could do, which should be pretty darn helpful.
I think me and Gustav and some cash could have a good evening on the town. We could, we could get in some trouble, except, not get in trouble.
Right. So you get to the bank. One of the loading guys that you hired, he says, Dr. Trout, would you like for me to leave this crowbar here so you can pry open these boxes at your leisure?
Yeah, I'd appreciate it.
No problem. Just drop it
Hold
on
on,
by the
hold on.
warehouse whenever you get a chance.
You got it. Thank you so much.
So
You
you're going
betcha.
to add that to your medical practice.
Give him the. I give him. I said, give him a little extra. That guy. Was that the foreman?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I'm
of
gonna
course,
name a
give him
grill
your
after you.
share.
Oh, you want some of those?
And so he leaves you a strong sort of pry bar type thing, and so you have some formidable looking large boxes and some not as formidable, about exactly eight smaller boxes.
All right. Well, if you gents would. Well, actually, if we start moving the small boxes down to the room, the doors they're up and the locks
Thank you, buddy.
are on them, right?
Yeah.
So when I have someone working on the plinth there, the
there anything else you wanna
doorway at
hand
the
me?
bottom of the stairs, we'll have the door shut so they can't actually see what's in the vault at that point.
Okay.
The
Sure.
door at the
That makes
bottom of the
sense.
stairs, and the door to the actual room.
Drop some of your crackers.
Okay,
So yeah,
so-
we'll bring all we'll start bringing the boxes down into the room at the
Nom, nom,
bottom.
nom.
How big is that room? I know you told me
The question. Let's take
the
a look.
vault.
Right. The room before the stone vault, right? So the stairs kind of come down. That's about 30 feet wide and 20 feet deep.
Wow.
So it runs the entire width of the building.
Okay. Well, I'm hoping that he has. All right. So, according to my instructions, I'm supposed to use the crates to help protect but there's not enough crates to coat all the walls.
Not at least the small boxes. No, you're like,
Yeah, let me see here. Several crates is part of your worldly game, along with instructions for the storage. Okay, all right. Whatever you do, do not discard the shipping containers. They'll be vital to continued safe storage. Okay, so maybe we leave them in the crates here in the room. Okay, all right. So we will start moving. If you guys don't mind, we'll start moving things downstairs. Walt, you should probably take the lightest boxes.
Yeah, I don't want to scuff up my new jacket.
Why don't you make your jacket cause you to appear like a common laborer?
Some things that jacket can't even do. It was like, okay, that was a good one. That was a good comeback. All right. Yeah. Well, let's together. Everyone achieves more.
So hopefully the other guys will catch us as we're just starting to move boxes down, because we could use the extra hands.
Get off that.
Let's see. I'm looking at people's strength here. Not the burliest of fellows. Actually, Edward, looks like you're going to be able to take more of the oomph than the other two folks.
Yeah, and I got a gimpy leg, so.
And you start doing the box. The smaller boxes, they kind of vary in weight. Some, as you have trouble imagining that there's much in the boxes outside of just the crates themselves. A couple of the other boxes definitely have some heft to them. You're like, okay, yeah, and you kind of, as you're kind of taking them down, the occasional box you can kind of hear a sort of a clink here and a tink 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 of maybe some sort of metal tapping on other metal or glass tapping on glass, kind of like you would a stack of plates kind of thing or something along those lines. What you commonly hear from almost any moving box is you move, kind of thing. You do notice in some of the boxes where they, the tops have been hammered down with nails. You can see occasional a little bit of hay sticking out here and there. So you get the feeling that they were packed at least fairly, well. There's stuffings in there to prevent things from clanking around, because even on a train, there's lots of motion and such like that. So, but you get all the smaller boxes down the steps, and about that time, probably quite literally, as you get kind of the last of the small boxes down the stairs, and you're starting to think about the bigger boxes, and you're like, well, maybe we ought to move the small boxes into the formal actual vault space, because the bigger boxes, so you kind of start moving those into the vault. You hear the ding 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 of the door upstairs open.
Okay, we'll dust off my hands and head up the stairs.
Okay, and you see a probably welcome faces of Vance and Gustav and Christopher.
Hey fellas, good to see you.
Hey, Doc.
You guys look a little dusty.
Actually, we're a little cleaned up right now.
Oh,
we came for the baths.
Yeah, they're actually cleaner now than
hair's all slicked
probably
back.
Ever.
Got his mustache waxed.
How long have you boys been here? How many days?
Oh, it's been like 2 or 3 days since we saw him.
Oh, yeah, it's been about 3 days.
We just arrived. My shipment for my uncle arrived, so we're moving it downstairs.
Oh.
I'm grateful you're here, because we haven't moved the heavy boxes yet.
Yeah, you as you're kind of standing there, you're kind of seeing these multiple large crates.
It's a true friend that helps you move.
Gotta buy him at least pizza and beer.
A friend helps you move. A real friend helps you move bodies. So I'll tell you what. Did you guys eat already?
Yeah.
Okay. All right,
a bit.
Otherwise, otherwise, I could get some fried chicken sent over.
I wouldn't say no.
We haven't eaten yet.
Oh, I could use a free meal given what I paid for this jacket.
You're going to be boiling your boots.
You do see that
But
Walt
I look good.
is sporting a very surprisingly well-tailored duster jacket that you have not seen him wear before.
Oh,
That looks mighty purty on you.
Why did the music just get ominous when he said that?
Brings out the coloring.
It's like, what the?
What you don't realize is he's growing a tail as we speak.
I'm feeling uncomfortable now.
Hey, stop making fun of me. Wait a minute. What was that?
What's that kid doing?
So yeah, at some point, Marshall, during the evening, we'll send off for some fried chicken and biscuits.
Sure.
Ooh. Man, that actually sounds good.
Fried chicken and biscuits.
Yeah, right about now.
Butter and jam.
Later sounds good.
Getting as I say, a lot of the especially the sort of tween age boys, make their money as basically message runners and such like that in town in the evenings. So
So I'll go holler out the door. Hey boy, come here.
yeah, and random Joey one shows up.
Tell Mrs. McGonagall at the blankety blank that we want that we're looking for fried chicken dinner for 8.
For 8.
And we're gonna need some plates or some napkins to eat off of, like a picnic.
Okay, sir.
And
he goes running off and to in effect put in your order. It occurs to you, home food delivery. Nah, never work.
Now let's get back to playing dominoes. Yeah, so we will.
Server am I on?
So I'd like to. So I'll explain to everybody what we've secured, and then probably it will lead to a discussion about my feelings about Ghost Rock, because I want, so that stuff we talked about earlier about my discomfort with over reliance on mystical things. But as far as an alarm system, I don't see that as a problem, because it's not like I'm going to be, it's not like I'm going to be wearing it or anything.
Hopefully it goes off for everybody and doesn't not go off for some people.
So it's 50 pounds.
You still got some over there.
If something steps on it that's 50 pounds or more, it'll make a ringing up at the alarm clock on the landing for this, where the stairs turn or whatever. So,
Doctor, you're the one that's making me paranoid about this. So,
so just that way, it'll sound like a school mom ringing the bell to get the kids in for school. So it'll make quite a racket.
It's going to confuse the town.
Well, it's inside the building, so hopefully it won't be.
Do you pay extra to have it ring really loudly in the Undertaker's house? Yeah, just every time anyone opens your front door. Just, yeah.
So I generally try not to aggravate the Undertaker. He's a little bit odd, but, I think one of the things that we're starting to learn here is that odd could be dangerous. So.
Odd can be, yes. We'll just
people. There could be things that we don't understand going on, and I don't, and I don't know about you guys, but there are just so many things that are curious, and we only have so much time to run to satisfy our curiosity. So we're gonna have.
Oh my God! Calm down. Here, look.
What's that?
I think Greg is communing with.
Sorry, I've got
I think that's a sidebar.
An 18-month-old who's getting upset because I took away the pretzels.
Hey, that's how I get when someone
I'm
takes my
upset
pretzels.
just now that I heard that you took away the pretzels.
Why would you take the pretzels away from me, baby? Oh my God!
The child could starve.
Because he eats one and throws the other 3 on the floor, and then doesn't eat them.
Oh, that's not good.
Waste of good pretzels.
Well, don't you have a dog?
If you'd like, I can send my.
No, we don't have a
over.
dog.
He eats everything.
That would solve your problems right there.
yeah,
Yep.
it would.
And the cats don't eat anything.
So I think with the big boxes, the ones we can't get down without opening them, that we would need to open the biggest one up here. If you guys want to be here when I do it, I can fire that open.
All right, go ahead and open it.
I'm hoping it's not full of
We'll
lead
watch.
ingots. Wouldn't that be funny? Yeah, it's lead
What's in
ingots.
it?
And I'll grab the one chair that's in there and sit in it.
Now, Doctor,
Well,
is this
actually,
all
we had
stuff you
I had some
inherited?
simple furniture delivered.
Oh, you did?
So we should have enough chairs for all of us to
Oh,
sit.
look at this. He moved up in the world.
And I think I've got actually a bed set up. Did I move
What?
it upstairs?
Yeah.
So there's a bedroom upstairs now. Is it just one office upstairs, or were there more than one room up there?
There is. Well, there's an office. Yes. There's. I think 2 other rooms.
Yeah, so we could, be our secret clubhouse. Anyway, okay, so
Yeah, I mean,
let's-
even on the main floor, there's an office, and then the old viewing room that one would look at, like safety deposit boxes. Then upstairs, there's an office and 2 smaller rooms as well.
So I mean, if those of you that are of limited of less limited means, you
I am now.
cash, you could probably stay here in exchange for doing light housework and cooking my breakfast.
Rub the outhouse.
Okay, so we'll yeah. Is there an outhouse in this place?
Out back.
Ah, sweet. Probably discovered that in the last hour or 2. Okay, so we will. So I'm going to pry open the big crate.
Okay.
Music just got ominous. It contains a monkey's fist.
Can we have Walt make a dumb luck roll to see if he's in the path of the escaping djinn?
So, who's opening up the box?
It looks very.
Walt's
very
protected by his
solid.
new coat.
I'll do it.
I think the owner should open his box.
There was no additional paperwork or instructions, right?
None that you found so far.
And nothing in my paperwork told me about how to handle the crates.
Don't open the box.
Nope.
Let's give it a whirl. Let's open it.
Okay. You
Trying. I'm being careful not to damage the crates if I can.
right. You stick in the pry bar and start to bend open the box. I know your strength, so I can just roll it. You're having a bit of trouble with it. Somebody else is going to have to help.
I'll help you.
All right. That's better between the 2 of y'all. Remember with that horrible sort of wood metal kind of noise, right? Everybody's heard that noise as they pry open a box here and there, kind of thing. It opens. No particular weird gases or anything seems to emit.
It really depends on how much Edward is exerting himself.
And you said you were doing the heavy one, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
That's the one we won't be able to get down without breaking it down.
Little glint of light starts going in. Give me a Dr. Gabriel. Give me a scan roll, please.
25. Make it.
Ed, you too. Yeah, Edward, you as well.
In fact, I'll burn a couple luck points to take it down to a good success.
I got a standard success.
So you brought it down to a standard success, Dr. Gabriel?
I brought it down to half of my skill, so hard
okay.
success.
Edward, you're a little surprised. Dr. Trout, not quite as much. There's definitely a silhouette of what you first to take to be a human. And a little more light pours on it. Yeah, it's a human. Well, okay, maybe not a human. A statue, you think, perhaps?
One would hope so.
It does give the impression of it being it's not like a bronze. It's a earthen or stone statue of some sort. You notice on the inside of the covering as you're pulling it back, uh, it is lined with a thin sheet of perhaps tin or copper, and all sorts of etchings across it. It reminds you a little bit of what you found um, in the Craven Mine, uh, of that symbol that was referred to as the John D symbol. But the patterns are all different. But it's I mean it's like a 4 feet wide, 10 foot tall top you're prying off, right? And it's covered in these etchings, and at what you first to take some sort of kabbalistic um, uh, uh, sigils and such reminds you a little bit of what Walt tried to scratch down before he went unconscious in the town of Wirt. Um,
I was conscious. I was just, stupefied in some kind of a trance.
and then as you pull the lid back a bit further, you notice that
6'5".
that is just one sheet of this, and past that, the metal kind of opens up, and there's a light kind of from the I guess at this point you probably lit up a lantern or two, as it's getting dusk-ish outside. You notice there's yet another sheet, so it looks like there's several of these metal panels sort of sandwiched up against each other. So that might account for at least some of the weight of this box, as well as what is clearly a friggin' stone statue. Let's see here. And Doctor, you notice on the stone statue. One moment. On its forehead, there seems to be stuck a relatively small piece of paper. The writing is not something you were particularly familiar with.
Edward, see that paper there? Can you make out what it says?
I'll take a close look at it.
It's not like someone's handwriting. It's something else. It's not like a note left by somebody,
Right.
in cursive or in English.
Right. It's you get the impression it's not quite necessarily part of it, but the parchment that it's written on, first of all, strikes you as that's not paper, that's parchment, right? And
Okay.
it looks, relatively speaking, from your point of view, it looks old, if that makes sense. You would have to kind of look at it to really, get the feeling of relatively speaking, how old. Let me shoot you what it looks like here. Hold on.
Weird.
There you
Okay.
go.
I see it.
Can we all see it or only he?
They're the only two in eyeshot of it right now.
I don't have anything from you.
Look in your chat. Oh, hold on. There you go.
No. It's not Greek. It's not Latin.
Huh.
Yeah, I don't know what the. Hey, I got language other 1%. Can I make a roll?
Sure.
If I get close, I got enough luck to burn. I'm gonna burn 82 luck. I got a 26. You know what? Let's give it a whirl there. I'll spend
Yeah?
25. My luck's like a 97. Now, just our luck. Something's gonna come out and attack us, and I'll burn all my luck, which would be awkward. So, all right. So I'll take my luck down to 72, and I will get a 1.
Wow.
Wow. Okay.
In
The
my old
language
college
is-
days, in my fraternity,
The language is Hebrew.
Or is it Aramaic? You're close.
any of you gents speak Hebrew or read Hebrew?
Bit of pig Latin.
No.
Nope.
It's a common enough phrase where I'll even give you the translation of that. You see
Can't
at
touch
the
this.
foot of this statue a much longer piece of paper. This time it's not parchment. It's newer paper. Again, for lack of and that's what you see.
Hmm.
I'll shoot it to Edward as well.
Any? Are there any Jewish people in town?
There was that one, but he died.
You're sure there must be.
Hmm.
You've never looked specifically?
I'm not terribly. Well, St. Louis, they've got some Jewish people. That's maybe why I recognize the script.
But since you pushed down the down to a 1, not only have you recognized the first word is Hebrew, and you're surmising the other bit is Hebrew. The word translates as truth.
Emet. Oh, I happen to know what that is in Hebrew. You could say Ba'amet means like, really? Seriously? It's also a name, Emmet. It's
Yeah.
Truth, huh? Okay. Well, I don't know. I think if I have any.
Do you show the rest of the folks at this
Oh
point?
yeah, absolutely.
Okay, you kind of finish kind of prying off the front cover. You also notice the sides of the crate and the back of the crate have similar, again, in brass or sorry, in copper, again, etched into the copper, all these peculiar sigils and such like that. And you notice that there's another layer sandwiched in the figure itself. Was packed in a fair amount of hay, which is now all over the floor. You don't notice anything particularly special about the hay, though. But that appears to be all that was in at least this particular box, which is not surprising. If it shifted and there was something else in this box, it probably would have crushed it.
Yeah.
Are you sharing us the letter or?
Oh yeah, hang on.
Yeah, you can go ahead and share whatever you like to the.
All right, let me do that. Share this to everyone. I just.
Come on, you gotta like that I don't just keep on going to using Latin all the time. Latin, the creepiest of the old languages.
Oh, I got it in bed. I'm trying to.
Yeah, this little bug flew in my eye. My eye is still bothering me like an hour, 2 hours later. Stupid bug.
I got them. Okay, those are backwards. So the.
Remember, it reads right to left.
So actually, the third thing is the first. So it's the third line, the second line, the first line. Sorry, just the way I was cutting and pasting. It didn't.
Yeah, so that's the lowest one's emet. It's hard. Hebrew doesn't bother with the vowels most of the time.
Don't they have a strong and vibrant Jewish community in Baltimore, Larrabee?
Yes, they do. But I am not lucky enough to call myself one of the chosen people. Though I have family who are, or were.
So we should probably get that translated by somebody. Maybe there's someone in town that can speak it, or we can tell. Well, you can't telegraph that. Not on a Western telegraph machine. All right. So, does it look like so? So, is it going to be any easier to move this statue downstairs, or is this just going to be a permanent fixture of the lobby?
The lobby. So when people come in,
Well, why not? It looks good. How heavy is it? It's staying.
It's staying.
400 pounds.
The box itself probably, the guesstimate by the guy who was moving stuff he was probably off by a good 60 pounds or so. You figure the copper sheets and the wood kind of taken away. If you wanted to just haul the statue down into the basement, you're still probably looking at 300, 325 pounds, somewhere in there, to get it down.
So I think we could do it. We just need to. We would need to remove it from the crate, bring it downstairs. But I get a strong sense that the crate and the incantations or whatever the inscriptions along the crate have some important purpose in keeping any danger that the statue may pose. So if we are to move it, we would move it quickly and then reassemble the crate around it in the basement. But I don't think the lobby is the best place for it. I don't know if anybody disagrees with that.
I mean, you can hang your coat on it.
Yeah, like a statue's got his arm out, and you can just hang your coat on there.
It's okay. You come in from the rain, your brand new duster is wet. We could hang it on the back of your chair like some kind of heathen. No.
You could put an Indian war feathers on the top of it and stuff a bunch of cigars in one of the hands.
There you go. Now you're thinking.
Like make its thumb move so it'll do a lighter. Just move the thumb and it'll make a light for your cigarettes, or your cigars.
Vance, you look somewhat appraisingly at Gustav, and Gustav, you figure between the two of you probably got the heft to probably have a sore back tomorrow, especially since you've been riding all friggin' day long. But between the two of you, you probably have the strength to move this thing downstairs without.
So I don't know if so the people that have been away. So Edward and I went through the manifest of the various things that my uncle had sent, and there's all kinds of curiosities and oddities and interesting historical items in this shipment. And of course, I'm counting on all of you to use discretion and not repeat any of this. But what was it?
Are you looking at Walt directly when you say that?
Marie Antoinette's fountain pen, or things of that nature. Napoleon something underpants or something like
A strange
it's
collection.
an eclectic collection of all from from historical characters that we would all recognize in a lot of cases,
Yeah.
and it's just sort of odd things, I think it's Marie Antoinette's mirror or something like that, where I don't know, Edward, do you remember any of the
Well, I certainly took some notes.
Yeah, you took some notes. Your memory of those notes are a little fuzzy after last night's peculiar experience. So you probably have to go back to your desk to actually look at them. You do recall something about a mirror. You recall something about a quill pen. Let's see. Let's see here. Some sort of spirit knife.
6 demon bag.
Something about George Washington. One thing that pops to your mind fairly clearly was some coins of Assyria.
Mhm.
Okay, my wife is translating this for me.
That's-
She's not even using a book.
Metagaming.
cheater?
Why are the lights going dark when I read that? Nah.
So the sense I get is these items may have some sort of power. And then looking at the box, I don't know about the rest of you. Actually, can I get an Arcana check or whatever the Arcane knowledge check? That does it seem like I don't know? A question for you, Marshall. Do things that are magical have a detectable aura or presence that I can detect?
There may be a
if I flip a
hex-
card up in the air, is it drawn towards it or something like that as I get my deck out?
There may be a hex that might reveal that information. You don't know that hex off the top of your head.
And now would probably be as good a time as any before the fried chicken arrives to share with my colleagues. So one of the things that my uncle gave me was this book, this Hoyle's book, and the deck of cards, and show them. And I've discovered I have some ability to use the cards to lay them out like tarot cards, as the mystics would do. But I can sort of use them to sort of, then if I touch something, do I even need to touch it to get a sense of it? The hunch thing.
It certainly helps.
So I can touch an object or carefully examine an object using this method of concentrate, for lack of a better word, magic, to get a sense of the history of it and get a kind of visions of the history. It's kind of I see the look on your face, Gustav, and it's as strange and odd and discomforting to me as it is to you. And I would touch the box to get a sense of its history, but I'm kind of afraid of what I would find out because I feel like this box is designed to protect what's inside,
or is it designed to protect you from what's inside?
Yeah. Exactly. So
perhaps touch the statue.
I am not touching that statue to save my life. Not unless there's some desperate
Which
need.
is funny because now you have to touch it to save your life. Roll for dumb luck.
So anyway, odd things have happened since you guys were gone. So I have this new anyway, so I'm going to take a look at those plates to see if they have some sort of arcane significance. And I guess do an arcane knowledge check if that's all right.
Yes.
All right. And I rolled a 32 and I needed a 35, so I got it.
Okay. It is definitely within the field of your arcanic things. A lot of the things now that you're thinking about it, as far as the patterns that you see, and such on the copper. Actually, now you think about it, and you think about the experience you had last night with the lantern, and a lot of the swirls and images that you saw there match up very neatly with what you see here, and you don't get the sensation that this is something that is necessarily going to ward like some evil that's inside to the outside, prevent it from escaping. What you do get the feeling is that these wards hide whatever's inside.
Like make it undetectable.
Yeah, for lack of a better term.
So let's leave it out of the box. Let's keep it out of the box for the minimum
King
possible
hearts.
time. So I'll share that with everyone. As I, looking at it, I get the sense. Edward, any thoughts from you?
Well, let me see. I'll take a look at it too.
And I'll share my thoughts, share my suspicions.
I actually rolled a 19. So
Okay.
Yeah.
You concur insofar as the symbols did match a lot of your visions and such from the previous evening, and you concur. You think that the copper plates and their various sigils, if there were a means to through this sort of new insight that you've acquired, if there was a means to detect something, that these wards and such would sort of, bounce such a thing back as opposed to let one look inside. For modern
Very useful.
terminology, it's the equivalent of lead for X-rays,
Right.
or that kind of a thing. You get also the impression that the double plating is perhaps not necessary. Perhaps the reason there's double plating is more just a functionality of it occurs to you that perhaps these plates are to be removed and to be put along the walls of the vault. It's almost as though the good passed away uncle knew what the dimensions of the vault were going to be and had to provide sufficient plating to cover the floor, the ceiling, and the walls of the vault.
That's good news. It's good news that hopefully we're both right and we're not both wrong, but we're in agreement.
But you're in agreement.
The fact that the inscriptions don't seem to provide protection from the object caused me to be less concerned about this object being very dangerous. And now it does cause me some concern about who would be looking for it and who would be looking for the objects. Again, it's an eclectic collection, and I think it probably has some sort of occult or spiritual or mystical significance. All of the people mentioned, the objects all belong to people of significance. At least as far as I could tell from the original, from the initial perusal. All right, well, let's get this moved downstairs. Do we have a tarp or a blanket or something in case the chicken boy comes in? Someone dropped.
Give me a dumb luck roll. It's the skill to use for stuff like this.
Dumb luck 20%. I got a 34.
34. It kind of occurs to you, you know what? There's a bed upstairs. I'm sure they did say that they were going to provide some sort of basic, linens and such, and they did also put up the sort of very generic
curtains
and such. So yeah, you
all right. So when we, by the way, when we went downstairs, I showed everyone the sort of, we've got 2 doors hooked up now, and there's locks to them. I've got 2 keys. I'm going to give one to Edward, and and one set to me, one for me. The alarm's going to go here. I'll explain. There'll be a stone plate makes the noise. We'll put the alarm clock on the stairs here so it can be heard throughout the building. Unless you're in the vault and somebody's sneaking up on you, can't help you there. But anyway, so that's the security measures I'm putting in place. And then of course there's a locks on the bank itself. I'll see about getting extra keys, and then I'll have like a locket or something that will activate and deactivate the alarm. The alarm's just making a loud noise, so it's not hurting anybody. So worst case, you could cross it or step across it. Hopefully it's wide enough that it's not something you can easily step across without knowing it's a trap.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it's okay. So let's see if we can manhandle this baby downstairs.
Okay.
Take a break when chicken comes.
So we're finally done gabbing.
It's Vance and Ed, please roll a strength
like
check.
3 cigarettes.
Or sorry, Vance and Gustav. Or it could be Ed. I think Ed's got the strength in the ballpark. Ed, if you help out Gustav and Vance, I'll let Gustav and Vance roll with advantage.
Oh, okay. Well, I got a 17.
Oh, okay. You're good.
Is this all you got?
Gustav, roll your strength check.
I'm outside. I have to look where I put my dice.
Those aren't dice.
All right, success. Actually, good success. So 31 out of 75.
Okay, great. Awesome. Takes a couple minutes, some huffing and puffing, but you get it down into the basement without
Hooray.
clanging anything too terribly heavily. Pretty much right when you get into the basement, you hear a knock on the upstairs door, and Joey Mark 1 shows up, and he's got a big handbasket full of chicken.
Joey showed up with the chicken and the scary music started.
Watch out for the bones.
Got the chicken and a knife.
Because he showed up with the chicken but forgot the biscuits.
It's a butter knife. Okay, that's fine.
And so Joey kind of looks around. There's not really any sort of table to put this stuff down on in the.
Just set him down. We'll take care of it.
Foyer and such. But he says, Miss Lowry, I guess that's the cook at one of the bed and breakfasts. Says, you can settle up with her whenever.
Okay. Did she send plates or just like napkins and stuff?
Plates and napkins,
Okay.
linen.
I'll return them tomorrow, and I'll tip the kid.
Yeah, something like 50 cents would be a very nice tip. A bit would be sufficient tip.
You know what? I'll give him 50 cents. It's not like I'm Larrabee.
Well, I'm going to be tipping even less if you think that's possible.
Okay. All right. So at least we're all going to eat well. I will bring out the whiskey, because we should probably drink a shot to everyone being together again.
You get the impression now that you kind of saw how this box was done. The other boxes likely aren't going to contain anything near as big and heavy. Will probably be containing more of those plates more than anything else. And the smaller boxes, you're now thinking probably one of the 8 smaller boxes is going to have sort of the paperwork's probably going to be in cipher, but the paperwork that you were kind of hoping to come across.
Okay. So we will. Okay. All right.
So while you're feasting on a little bit of food, why doesn't anybody who wants to update other people on things that happened, you should probably update on things that happened.
Well, I wouldn't mind addressing the elephant in the room now that we're all eating.
Hey,
It's Edward, is it? How did you fall in with us?
36.
Because I mean, we just walk in and there's a new face. No one did any introductions.
Yeah. You've been gone a long time.
You're on mute.
He's muted. He's a mute. Okay,
He's a mute.
He's dumbstruck.
Edward's still muted.
I have nothing to
There he
say.
is.
There we go.
Well, no, I'm a former academic and more or less explorer and researcher, and they needed me for some research. I've been in town for a while, working in the records building, and turns out I've got some other useful skills as well. So here I am. Nice to meet you.
All right. Well, I then said this is Gustav Graf, one of our good gunslingers, and of course our tracker, Barnett,
Hey there.
bounty hunter.
Sack shooter. Don't ask.
That's Walt's favorite thing to call him is the sack shooter.
Dose.
With the sack blast.
But well, I guess welcome to this foray. Doc, it seems you've been busy getting a bunch of trinkets in. Kind of reminds me of a gentleman who used to ride around in a cart selling things that were of particular use, like a gunslinger's pocket watch or Abraham Lincoln's fountain pen, all sorts of, actually not Abraham Lincoln, Benjamin Franklin's
Marquis de Sades,
feather,
rectal.
ink and feather. So unless there's some sort of validation, I wouldn't take too much into your uncle's stuff unless you know that he was a wide collector.
I think the thing that makes his collection, so there were a couple things. One was that he sort of had some, so he believes that he might exist beyond the grave. He's dead without a doubt, but in his correspondence with me, he seemed to indicate that he would be back, which is a little bit off-putting. He also the sorts of the yeah, because if he shows up, I won't be happy to see him if he's
there goes your inheritance.
Oh, hello, dead uncle. What's going on? So yeah, that's probably where you can mention. Oh yeah, we saw some miners that fit that category. So,
we already dealt with some of them.
we know how to deal with that. A bullet to the head. Well, if you see my uncle, please don't shoot him in the head until we can talk to him. But I think the fact that he had these plates and they sort of jibe with some of the things, it sounds like you guys, and so we only are going to figure that out by talking to each other about these are similar to other things that we saw. This is not an area that I have any experience with, so I mean it's all new to me. But it's all
Were there any Hellfire shells in those records, were there?
We'll find out. So there's a lot of things that it's all, a lot of the things are in a cipher. So Mr. Tillingast is going to help me sort of deciphering it.
So those things came in damn handy.
Well, I think with my uncle's, the inheritance from my uncle, we can sort of support this effort to investigate what these items are and protect them if necessary. Obviously, the bank vault is, he felt that it was important for, I get the sense that he felt it was important to keep them well secured. And certainly in his correspondence, he said, he was very emphatic about the desire, the need to keep these things safe. So hopefully no trouble will come to us as a result of them arriving. That's what I'm.
No, of course not. No way.
Would never happen. As the sinister music plays in the background.
No, trouble never comes looking here. Now, I guess we got to address the other elephant in the room. Walter, where in God's earth did you pull a fancy pretty jacket like that out of a dust bowl like this.
Well, let me tell you,
Did you notice the buttons?
Gilmore is a fancy shop. Gilmore's this it's a pretty fancy coat. So what is it's gonna probably piss off Dr. Trout, but I don't care. What is Vance wearing right now?
Probably.
Assless chaps. Give me
No, not chaps. Probably just dark pants, white shirt, and probably a dark jacket. Not his riding coat or anything.
All right. Well, I'm gonna stare at him, think really hard, try to stand next to him, and let the jacket do its magic.
Give me the willpower roll, please.
Why am I wasting good rolls? Geez, 11.
11.
I'm
Okay.
wondering if you're wasting like $30 a ghost rock every time you do this.
The transformation from the duster to more or less what Vance is wearing,
Which is, by the way, probably much less nicer looking, except that the cut is perfect.
but it happens quicker than the first time you tried it. And to use modern parlance, the clarity of the mimicry is a bit better. But Vance, you basically see the jacket rather quickly over the course of really just a few seconds sort of shift and fold, and starts looking more and more, although it's one piece, but the coloration starts matching more and more what you're wearing.
Huh?
I will remark that is a very interesting trick while I'm touching my ivory.
Yes, it's a special jacket, and I like it a lot. It's my precious jacket. My precious jacket.
That store's here?
Yeah, it's in town. And let me tell you, the proprietor, Gilmore, he is a character, and that's coming from me. Gustav, you would love him. Long
I must
time.
say that is an interesting trick.
Yeah, I have to kind of have to focus on it, and then I'll just and I'll just kind of imagine how it normally looks, and just kind of ease.
And again, the transformation back to a even tastefully slightly worn the leather. So it doesn't even look new. It looks tastefully used, but still in excellent condition. So, you know, it doesn't seem to give the wearer the awkwardness of, oh, look, he's got a brand new jacket, but also doesn't give the look of, oh, he's wearing a tattered old beat up jacket. The jacket seems to be just having the right amount of wear. And within a few seconds, it fades back to sort of a dark, dusky, dark tan. And it's one of those dusters with the sort of the fold in the back,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You know,
Do you have to? Do you have to maintain that? Do you have to concentrate to keep it looking like that, or is it?
I haven't, I've only had it a couple hours, guys, but like in this case, I was thinking I wanted to first look like you, and then I wanted to look like Vance, but in this case, I wanted to go back to sort of the normal appearance. I haven't really played around with concentrating on it, but it's not that difficult. It's not like incredibly strenuous for me to think about what I want it to look like and keep it that way. But I'll let you know after I use it more. And Gustav, I think you and I might have some be able to run a couple we might have some good times, maybe score a little money. Brains and brawn, I got both. You'll just be there.
I'm just there to hold your hat, right?
Yes, actually, yeah, give that back. But anyway,
coat would look
my
better on
mind is full of ideas. Like if I want to interview people, I can tailor my look to be whatever is appropriate. But I assume that would also include making the jacket look worn, and that would just I don't want to think about that. But I suppose if I had to, I could try to look down on the heels and dusty and worn if I wanted. But mainly, I'm just still in the having cool, look at my awesome jacket mode.
Yeah,
So-
it's stuff you definitely have to play with. I mean, can you just pull an image out of your mind outside of just you kind of did it with a general color, but could you last time I remember Al Schwerenzen, what was he wearing, and that kind of thing. You haven't really played around with that, and how much concentration does it keep? It's like, can I have it tweaked a certain way and ride a horse at the same time, or ride a horse and chew gum at the same time?
I was gonna say the chewing gum thing.
Yeah, so you should, before it becomes really important, you should probably spend some time experimenting.
All right. Well, I'm already doing a little bit of that as we go. He also said that it's a deceptively protective too. So I'm sure it won't stop bullets, but maybe might help with a knife or something like that. And no, Gustav, we're not testing that now.
Dang.
He's like, he puts the Bowie knife away. So it's an interesting shop. Edward, have you decided about your purchase? I understand it's a little more significant, financially significant.
I'm a little paranoid about it now. I think I'm going to wait.
Okay. Yeah, he said something about a lot of the things he sells are ghost rock powered. So I might need to. He said this needs to be brushed periodically, like a dusting of ghost rock, which it's fresh from the store, so I assume it's good for a while. But I might need to look into that. Just a source of ghost rock dust or very small particles.
Well, it can certainly be found in mine, but most people purchase it just like one would gold. It's just ghost rock is pretty expensive in general.
Wait, isn't there a pit that was a bunch of ghost rock in it that we can go back and
There wasn't that
pick
much.
out?
Why, yes.
Did we ever get the story on how they filled that hole beautifully?
Turn to everyone
Chris
kind of
goes-
turns and looks at Chris.
Chris goes, well,
Actually, I guess I didn't know they filled it. Then I think that was the plan.
it was definitely filled. Now, I didn't get exactly any particular details as to how many people it took or whatever, but
How many bodies are in?
but yeah, it's been filled and covered over. I mean, you can kind of see, if you know what you're looking for, you can kind of see the outline of a big circle there, but it would take quite a bit of effort to move all the rubble back out again. It wasn't like they threw in mortar or anything, though, so it could be uncovered again if we need for it to be.
And
Okay,
if-
well, it'd be easier to get to that ghost rock than going into a mine and trying to mine it.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going into any mines ever.
Yeah, speaking
Especially
of
if there's
mines,
water. Especially if there's water.
we had a fun time in the canyon when we came across a mine,
Yeah, you should.
and we'll regale that story, just not going through it.
Yeah,
Not
you
in
do
real
notice
time.
that Christopher seems less than chatty about his overall experiences while down in Etna. At this point, though, Edward, perhaps between meal and whatever, Chris did have a talk with you. Now that's jumping cycles a little bit, because technically Chris didn't know who you were,
Right.
but Carl was very specific on who he was going to talk to and with what information. So I'm just relaying what
Okay.
he wanted to say.
Excellent.
All right, so couple other
Uh,
quick updates since this won't take really long. Is you recall we checked out the house of the neighbor next
I'll double
to
check the email, but
the doctor's house, and we found that strange house, which we still haven't gone into the basement. Well,
the guys don't know what you're talking about. That
Oh.
house, that strange house.
Sure.
What are you talking about?
Well, we know
Okay.
the doc had a ranch, right?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
So the
about it.
doctor,
So
one of the many things he's inherited is he inherited a ranch, and the neighbor of one of his ranches, we went to check out his house, and it was a very strange house to say the least. And it was owned by somebody who appears to have disappeared, and he also had a history with Swearingen's and being a really good gambler, a preternaturally good gambler, and I believe he's disappeared or he's dead, but one of the people he got into a kerfuffle with at Swearingen's, which got them both banned, and named Travers, whose name I had heard before, said that the house burned to the ground, which clearly it's not burned, and that that's what happens when you do deals with devils and demons. And then he passed out drunk.
I think he said he brought the devil into the house, didn't he?
Something like that.
We still have to explore the basement. We should do that.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure about exploring the basement of a house that supposedly burned down and is we all know is genuinely bizarre. And having heard that it burned down completely and is
Well, that made sense.
grown back.
Who asked
It's a
you
bit
to look
alarming.
into this? Was it Swearinger?
Was it we were just checking out going to the neighbor? Was that it? Dr. Trout?
The smell of burning
Yeah.
and the fields next to the doctor's inherited homestead were oddly unkept.
Yeah, it definitely looked a mess. And then when we went to it, everything looked like it was like the chicken pen had no seeds or feed on the floor, no evidence of chickens. The barn had no hay or straw. The house itself, the kitchen had lots of utensils and plates, but didn't have a lick of food. Not even spilled grain or sugar or flour.
It's pretty close. We could all check it out pretty quickly.
Could it be that the former tenant moved?
No, it was there wasn't even dust. I mean everything has dust. I just rubbed the table next to me. There's dust. We're out in the West. So it was as if it was as if you had an idea of what a house would look like, that it had the appearance of a house, it had the appearance and all the details, but it felt odd. What was it? The texture of the door was odd to the touch.
The texture of everything you touched, except for the molten metal and the Sunday suit and the wedding dress, those all felt, for lack of a better term, normal. Everything else had a texture of, in effect, the husk of a coconut.
It was, like I said, it felt like it was a false, like a copy or something, very good copy, but a copy that was missing, the texture.
In
the
character,
texture was
probably
off.
no character has encountered a coconut, so
Yeah.
maybe
It was
that
rough,
of
like burlap or something.
of a pressed mixture of wool and felt.
Okay.
And it smelled it had the odor. The entire place had the odor of burnt, right?
Yes.
Including
smoke.
melted
It
metal
wasn't
found in places.
overwhelming. It was in the air, but no worse than if a fire had went out in the fireplace, several hours before, and if it wasn't closed in, you might have sort of a waft of, or stepping outside here in the wintertime at any point in time, there's a certain fireplacey wood smell in the air because we have a lot of people around here who look for heat. that. So not overwhelming, almost bizarrely pleasant, but
So it was to me it felt like it was like a trap, like some sort of, I don't know.
Yes, but you really want to leave that just sitting there so close to your place?
And by the way, this place is only
it's my
a few
place,
a few miles away, so this is not like we have to drive through the canyons of the
Right.
and so it's close.
Yeah, it's nearby. It's not.
It sounds like you guys had an easy time.
I
Well,
think it's because we didn't go into that basement. So I think I wouldn't want to go into the basement without.
Why don't we all go?
So that's another curiosity.
well,
Bring enough lamp oil. I learned that.
Or go during the day.
Well, the basement's going to be dark.
sweet. Well,
So it's definitely something that's peculiar. I don't live at the ranch house. I don't
Yeah.
need to live at the ranch house. I'm not sure why I have a ranch house. My uncle bought it, so I got to keep
When
it.
you don't want to stay in town.
Your
yeah.
property taxes.
There was one other little thing when we returned, when the kid came by to get us. He said there was writing on the door that said we were next door.
except we didn't leave a note.
Except we didn't write that. Then we went back to my house, written on the door.
Well, we saw it. We were told you because you had to write because there's a pregnant lady. You had to run right back to town. And he didn't
guys
kill
said-
the baby. Lived.
You guys.
Oh, what
said
you
that-
have?
Boy.
You guys said written on the door was we feel a kinship to you, Doctor. Bring the killer to us, and let our soul rest. Bring us holy peace, or bring us down if you think you can. S. So the guy who died, the guy who was the neighbor was Brandon? Let's see, hang on, I got it.
That's right. Something Brandon. Brandon
Mr.
Van Layden.
Mr. Brandon Strauss. So S could be Strauss.
Yes.
So
Brandon
while
Van
we were in
Layden.
the house, someone was writing on my door. The kid left, and then he wrote something else on the door. It, he, again.
The kid didn't write that.
No. So there's some sort of person or
It has a
spirit
kinship with the doctor.
that I don't want to be kin with it.
So what you're saying is we shouldn't hang around you as much.
And your creepy statues.
Well, I do provide fried chicken on occasion, so I guess there's a plus there. But yeah,
That's-
Oh yeah, that is a
I think
plus.
there's a whole
That
lot
is
of negatives.
plus.
You're right.
With biscuits. Yeah, that puts us over the top. Well, so I guess what I'm saying, gentlemen, is we could always look for additional work from Swearingen. We could always try to do more research on that train tragedy, which was really a big deal. We could go
Tragedy.
Did they hear about the train wreck?
No, all the train wreck stuff happened while we were gone.
All right. Well, we learned
Yeah.
about when I was doing some writing because I'm a writer. I talked to the person who runs not the conductor but the station master, and he told us the story of the old 59, which was a really horrible train wreck involving a trestle failing and the death of dozens of people, if not 100 people, including some dignitaries, and supposedly, of course, is haunted. So, Edward, did you ever do any hardcore research on that? Can't remember. Yeah, you did. You shared it. That's how I got all these details. You shared it with
sure.
me.
The interesting thing now that you reflect upon that a little bit, Will, is that from your notes and what you took from the station master talking and his kind of ramblings about the train,
And he acted very strangely too, by the way, when he
did.
described it.
But a lot of his what seemed to be relatively specific details don't quite match up very well with Edward's documented details. There's a change. I'll leave it up to you to figure out what the differences are.
Okay. Well, I think he sent me that file, and I sent it. Well, anyway, the point of this is could always go talk to Mr. Swearingen. I think he has additional information for us. I think we're all clear that we don't go into any mines. You told us the story about I guess because he said they told us not in real time about their experiences, the mines and the obelisks, and right? That was conveyed.
We
to us?
mentioned the mine with the I figure Gustav could tell his story about going down in the mine and meeting creatures.
Somebody
Christoph,
who,
how much detail do you want to go into concerning your solo experience deep in the mine there?
yes, Walt
Nothing
goes,
that makes
"Do
nothing that makes me
tell."
look too bad.
Oh,
I fought off 5 guys, and
I stared down these infernal beings in the dark.
Bob and Neil.
They knew better to mess with me.
so I
yeah.
basically kind of, low detail, medium, or high, basically. You don't have to repeat every
Sure.
nuance, but
Medium.
okay.
I would say focus more on the encounter with the Baron than the other 2 creatures who were disturbing, but I felt less consequential.
And the fact that you got
I could have that
lost.
wrong, but
Okay, so you go into some details about A, the Baron, and B, I assume you probably already related the information of as much of the information you can remember of the obelisk to Christopher, because he also was talking about an obelisk, right?
Yeah.
So one thing that you remember on, for lack of a better term, your obelisk, there was some Latin gobbledygook. I don't think you wrote it down or anything, though. I think we did a no roll, and why don't we do it now? Do a no roll for me. Don't forget, you cannot add in points, but you can add in chips to improve.
okay.
Next session, we will get some chips for everybody.
Ooh, wet nose.
Oh, okay, yeah. Exactly half. So good success. Rolled a 30 out of 60.
So your recollection of it is actually
hereby recollect.
pretty good. You can confirm that the primary Latin on it was sit nomen Merwit, which Christopher had already translated as the name must be earned. And in Latin, there's all sorts of specific things. So that's a done in an imperative tonality. So you can imagine sort of the must being underlined, if you will, and the name being capitalized. It's searching for a specific name, and it must be earned. Latin's kind of cool that way. He said that on his obelisk, it had something on it that basically translated as water, said aqua. You don't recall seeing an aqua on yours at all. But now that you're kind of,
Ooh, that's not good.
for lack of a better term, putting some thought towards it, I want to make sure I give you the right bit. Let's see. Yeah, yours said Kali, Caeli. Does anybody in the group know Latin?
I do.
All right, give that a good old roll.
I do as well.
Okay, so anybody who knows Latin may.
I do not.
Ha, fail.
Doctor?
What can I do with chips?
You can spend a white chip that will lower any roll by 10%. A red is what, 20, and the blue's 30? That sounds kind of right.
What we got in my little bag here? Well, all right. Let's use a red. Can I use a combination of chips and luck?
You bet.
So I'll use a red chip
Uh-huh.
to boost it to lower it by 20, and then I will spend another 14 luck to get me down to success.
Okay.
And you must have really blew that roll.
I missed it by 34.
After some kind of thinking about it and such, your Latin's a little rusty. It's been a while since the old school years and such like that.
Fibia, periculonium.
Yeah. It's not a medical Latin term, but it simply means air or atmosphere. It can also reference wind.
Is this Kali?
Correct.
It says air or atmosphere. It could also mention wind. Would it mention breath?
No, it's more specific to environmental.
Okay, thanks. There you go. Come up with it. I thought it would be.
In describing your encounter with the weirdly well-dressed person, everybody who has Arcana may roll an Arcana roll.
What's the base? Is that a base skill? Oh,
It is a skill you must obtain.
okay.
I have succeeded.
As have I.
By any normal success or
Normal success.
Normal success.
all right. Between the two of you, you patch together you've heard about such things, or perhaps I should say, for some reason you know about such things. And
They have a
they're
curious and
evidently
unexplainable knowledge.
these kind of barons, if you will, are guardians of crossroads, and more specifically, a similar concept of crossroads like this is why it used to be suicide people who killed themselves were buried at crossroads of roads. There's a certain in many forms and beliefs a power of crossroads. It might be derived from old ley line concepts, and more specifically, not just ley lines, but on the crossroads that the barons watch over is literally almost like a crossing from and both Edward and Doctor, you're kind of saying this as though you're talking about a religion that you don't particularly believe in, but it's something that you feel like you know about.
Hokum,
But this is what the Hokum says, as though one was crossing from one plane of existence to another plane of existence, something similar but not similar.
Sort of like the river Styx and Charon is the
Yeah.
horseman.
That would be Charon would be in, probably like the grand poobah of the barons, right? You if you had to put that concept into the crossroads sort of concept, and just as Charon demands a payment for the crossing the Styx, right? He demands coin, right? Every baron has their own demand to cross a crossroads safely.
May not be coin. Could be
Correct.
Yours mention anything specifically, Gustav?
No, but you do recall seeing a pile of something or other right where the Baron had disappeared as you decided bravely to reunite yourself with your compatriots because you were concerned about them.
Yeah, I mean, that was my primary driving factor, was how the safety of Vance. He can get into trouble if you don't keep an eye on him. So
yeah.
I just wanted to be a responsible adult.
Do you
It's very
recall
big of you.
what it was? I mean, I'm intensely interested in meeting this creature. I'd like to come prepared.
If I never saw him again, I would be all right with that. I mean, he seems like a nice chap, but
you mention the whole bit where what you said you clearly and distinctly remember him saying it at the very last moment.
Yes. So the most clear thing I remember him saying, as I paddled away from him furiously in an effort to find Vance and make sure he had enough food to eat the night, is that he said, "I withdraw my protection." And it was shortly thereafter that I found myself stumbling through the dark, looking for a match. So
you don't recall what he asked for as payment?
He didn't ask for anything specific. Perhaps I should have asked.
Scary.
I didn't particularly stick around to, ask 20 questions. He didn't mention a specific form of payment.
He may ask a price that you can't afford to pay.
Yeah, I sort of felt that the payment might be more than I had. I didn't see what the pile was on the other side. It could have been money, it could have been food, it could have been bones, it could have been ghost runs. Don't know.
Could have been your everlasting soul.
It could have been a pile of beautiful duster coats that change color when you.
It could have been chicken and biscuits.
Give me, Gustav. Give me another knowledge roll.
Oh! I missed it by 1. 61 out of 60.
And you can't add points to that, right?
I could burn a chip. I don't know how much it is.
It's friggin' 1. You're off by 1.
Right, but you can't use luck.
Right. Yeah, that's a chip burner to cross the threshold. But if you blow the chip, I'll remind you a bit more of the conversation that you had with the Baron.
And type it out this time.
Well, I was pretty good at writing it down.
Drop a weight.
I don't have a what. See, I only have 2 blue chips, so I don't think I want to burn a blue.
Oh.
I don't blame you.
So just reviewing my own memory, which is my loose notes.
Hey, what about can Walt try to use his incredible journalistic skill to sort of help him walk through the story to maybe tease his memory a little bit?
Walt, do you have psychoanalysis?
Oh shit, I got psychoanalysis.
Nah, I have a really good psychology, but not psychoanalysis.
So here's my recollection of our interaction. I was approaching the lake. I heard a scraping noise in the shadows to my left. He just sort of appeared out of nowhere. It's a tall figure in a top hat and formal tattered clothes. I continued heading for the raft. He introduced himself. He asked for a payment. I believe he referred to it as a tithe, but he didn't specify what it was. Not being someone to be shaken down by any old cave vagrant for payment. I continued on my way.
Cave vagrant. I don't know why that's funny as hell. A cave
He's
That
vagrant.
one to
Damn
be shaken
cave
down
vagrant.
by a cave vagrant.
Always asking me for a quarter or a
Beat
drop
it,
of
kid.
blood.
Give a match.
He
Give a
said
match. Just one match.
he was a bit insistent that I ask him a question. I declined, and he said that next time you will have to show the proper respect. And then he said I withdraw my protection. But he said something to the effect of, "You will not be ready for the workshop." But I didn't
You'll not be ready for the workshop?
understand what that meant. And I do remember that the water, which had been calm as it should be underground in a cave where there's no wind, was a bit turbulent on the way back, almost like it was bubbling, or there was something moving, or the temperature was rising. I did not
Should we just
linger long enough.
It was a very well-dressed cave vagrant.
Well, I couldn't quite tell if he was actually there, or if he was a specter, or a ghost, or if he was harrowed, or if he was a
Trick of the
figment of my
shadows.
imagination because I inhaled some particularly noxious cave gases. I wasn't sure whether or not he was real.
As you relate what you remember, you do fill in a couple additional details. You recall after he had introduced himself, he said something akin to that he's letting you cross the crossroad without tribute, as it is the will of the cavern. But he would not abide by it a second time. Respect and tithe would be required.
Okay.
Maybe you're the cave whisperer. You know, like the.
He also advised you not to proceed deep into the cavern until you know the answers to your questions. For without such, you will not be ready for the workshop.
Well, if it was a seminar, that'd be different, but a workshop.
Oh yeah, that's just a whiteboard and some people brainstorming.
By the way, I just want to point out, Gustav, I'll be like, as a reporter, some good notes. Maybe there's a story in this.
I've learned to write quickly in my line of work.
Well, that's true.
Now, mainly I'm impressed that you can read. Mainly I'm impressed you can write. But no,
Hey,
seriously.
I'm a good college dropout.
I might have to get back to my writing one of these days. Every time I figure make a journalism role, it's just like, I mean, I think I'm like, I've had a burn chips like 3 in a row. That's when I roll the 80 whenever I try to be creative, which just doesn't bode well for my journalism career. Let me say.
But we're coming up on 9:30, so I think that's where we're going to say adieu to the storyline. We do have everybody together. Excellent.
And we are all still alive.
Of catching up has been done, with the exception of a bit of information from Christopher. Not really sure why he seems to be a bit hesitant. As I say, on the sidebar, Edward, you did get the information that I sent you from Chris.
Yes.
I say it seems a little odd because I'm still not quite sure why Carl decided to do that, because, as I said, he's technically his character hadn't met your character, but whatever. We'll metagame that out of the way. And so let me hit the stop button here.